Alrighty, folks, we're still hitting at 80% my last 28 chairman package picks on my premium page. And if you think we can pick up another W in that membership here today, you may want to think about signing up for my full access, all-inclusive chairman package. Chairman members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my chairman podcast, absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on the free video and what I do on my premium site. Well, what I do here on the free video is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side, and total. What I do on my premium page is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free plays I actually like the best. I'm hitting at 75% my last 14 chairman package picks, 76% my last 20 in that same package. And finally, folks, once again, I'm hitting at 80% in my last 28 chairman package plays. And the good news is I've got another chairman pick going off here today. The site is patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into some free content. And it's going to be in the Big Ten, Penn State, Michigan State. That'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Michigan State's minus 13.5, totals 145. Now, I'll tell you, this is a mighty big number for a conference game. The Spartans failed to cover this year against the likes of Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Arizona. And as tough as Sparty's been defensively in most spots, they do tend to break down late in games. Sparty's allowing just about 40 second-half points a game, and they're taking on a Nittany Lion program who actually got the W in 3 out of their last 4. That includes an 83-point effort in a win over Ohio State. Now, scoring-wise, Kanye Clary, he's averaging a team-high 18 points a game. Clary's making over 50% of his attempts from the field. Meanwhile, Ace Baldwin, he's second on the roster in scoring, leads the program in steals. And speaking of defensive play, well, you just can't shoot the long ball against the Nittany Lions. Penn State's currently limiting their competition to just 28% shooting from three-land. Now, total-wise, Michigan State saw their last 5 straight get over the total. Overs against the likes of Baylor and Nebraska. Meanwhile, Penn State saw 8 out of their last 9 get over the line. Give me Penn State plus 13.5 over 145. All right, next game. Temple, USF, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. South Florida's minus 5.5, totals 144 and a hook. Now, the Bulls are on a 5-game winning streak, and that includes a 16-point win over Florida State. When it comes to offensive production, the Bulls managed to get to the stripe an awful lot. They're making 18 free throws a game. Chris Youngblood makes 86% of his attempts from the foul line, team leader in points. Meanwhile, Selton Miguel, he's second on the roster in scoring, and he's been dangerous shooting from three-land. Miguel's making just about 50% of his attempts from downtown. Now, they're facing a Temple team who gets out-rebounded on most nights. These guys rank 343rd in the nation in defensive boards per contest. When it comes to offensive production, well, this is one of the worst shooting teams in college basketball. These guys are making only 38% of their attempts from the field. Deuce Roberts, he is questionable for the Owls. Placer and Pryor day-to-day for USF. Now, total-wise, South Florida is 73% to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, Temple on the other side saw 5 out of their last 6 qualifying ball games stay under the line. Give me South Florida minus 5.5, under 144 and a hook. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Memphis, Tulsa. That's going to be an 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Memphis is the 9-point favorite away from home. Totals 152. Now, I'll tell you, in my opinion, this is going to be a tough number to cover away from home. Like I said, conference game away from home, laying, nearly double digits. Not a great spot for Memphis backers, in my opinion. The Tigers are already struggling against the point spread here recently. They failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. Failures to cover against the likes of Vanderbilt, Clemson, and Austin Peay. And I'll tell you, out of the Tigers' last 8 contests, they covered the point spread only 3 times. Now, one of Memphis's big problems is defensive play. These guys are getting out-rebounded defensively on really any given night. And when it comes to guarding the 3-ball, they're allowing nearly double-digit 3-pointers a game. Now, they're facing a Tulsa team on the other side who's on a 4-game winning streak themselves, and they have little problems getting to the foul line. These guys are actually 6th in the country in made free throws per game. PJ Haggerty's the leading scorer for the Golden Hurricane. Jared Garcia leads the roster in boards. Now, when it comes to defensive play, Tulsa's limiting their competition to just 39% shooting from the field. This is a team who is very tough to shoot against. Now, injury-wise, Keaston Willis is still out for Tulsa. Brown and Williams inactive for Memphis. The Tigers saw unders recently against the likes of Virginia, Villanova, and Michigan. Meanwhile, Tulsa saw 3 out of their last 4 qualifying ball games stay under the line. Give me Tulsa +9, under 152. All right, next contest, it is going to be Oregon, Washington. That'll be a 9 o'clock Eastern start time. For some reason, not on our big screen unless I passed it. But anyway, Washington is -4, totals 153. Now, the Huskies have been pretty good on the offensive end of the court this year. They're averaging 83 points a game, and they do a nice job scoring late. Kean Brooks averages a team-high 20.5 points a game. He's actually 17th in the country in that stat. And in addition to that, Brooks is drilling 40% of his three-pointers, and he leads the team in rebounds per night. Now, Moses Wood is averaging double-digit points a game himself. He is one of the best free throw shooters in the entire country, by the way. He's making over 93% of his attempts from the foul line. Now, they're facing an Oregon team who's still going to work without top scorer N'Faly Dante. He's still battling that hammy injury. When it comes to rebounding the basketball, the Ducks have had some issues on the offensive end of the court this year. Now, injury-wise, once again, Dante's still out. Cook's also inactive. Meanwhile, for the Huskies, Frank Kepnang is questionable for them. Now, Washington saw overs recently against the likes of Utah, Seattle, and Colorado State. 5 out of Oregon's last 9 on the other side got over the line themselves. Give me Washington -4 over 153. All right, next matchup. Little Big Ten action here. Minnesota, Michigan, 9 o'clock East. The Michigan Wolverines are -6.5, totals 151. And for a team laying a couple of baskets in this spot here, the Wolverines have been awful at covering the point spread recently. They failed to cover in their last 3 straight, 2-8 against the number in their last 10. And a lot of their problems have been on the defensive end of the court. These guys allow nearly 30 made field goals a game. They actually rank 349th in the nation in that particular category. And of course, they're facing a Minnesota team who doesn't miss much. These guys are making 50% of their attempts from the field. They're a top 25 field goal shooting team in the nation. And when it comes to point production, well, these guys like to get on you early. They like to pour it on. They're averaging over 40 first-half points a game. Mitchell and Christie are both drilling well over 41% of their three-pointers collectively. Meanwhile, Dawson Garcia, he's averaging a team-high 17 points a game. Now, injury-wise, Eric Reeder and Jack Wilson are questionable for the Gophers. Meanwhile, for Michigan on the other side, Llewellyn and Hochberg are questionable for them. Now, the Wolverines saw their last 6 straight outings all get over the total. Minnesota went 6-3 to the over in their last 9. Give me Minnesota +6.5 over 151. All right, next game. Colorado, Arizona, 9:30 East. Arizona's -11, totals 163. And even though they're favored by double digits here, The Wildcats have lost 3 out of their last 5, and they've played some pretty lax defense in the process. They allowed 89 points a game during that stretch I just mentioned, and they've shown really little interest in guarding beyond the perimeter. These guys allow nearly double-digit three-pointers a game, and they're facing a Colorado team who doesn't miss much from long range. They're making 41% of their three-pointers as a team. And no real surprise here, the Buffs are the 4th best field goal shooting team in the nation. KJ Simpson averages over 21 points a night. He's 11th in the country in points per game. Meanwhile, Julian Hammond, he's knocking down 48% of his attempts from three-land. Now, injury-wise, Tristan Da Silva is currently listed as questionable for the Buffs. He's Colorado's 2nd leading scorer, battling an ankle injury. That's why I think we're seeing this number so high for Arizona. Now, total-wise, I'll tell you, it should be a fun one here tonight. Colorado saw overs in 5 out of their last 8 contests. Meanwhile, Arizona went 5-3 to the over in their last 8 themselves. Overs against the likes of Stanford, Cal, and Florida Atlantic. Give me Colorado plus 11 over 163. All right, next matchup. Staying on that West Coast, obviously, because it's the later games. Oregon State, Wazoo, 11 o'clock East. And that is not on our big screen as well. But anyway, Washington State is minus 12. Total's 134.5. And I'll tell you, this is another spot where I hate this number in a conference showdown. Wazoo's lost 3 out of their last 4, and they've been anemic offensively. The Cougs averaged just 63 points a game during that 4-game stretch I just mentioned. And in their last 8 ball games, the Cougs failed to cover in all of those contests except for 2. They're facing an Oregon State team on the other side who's actually played some pretty tough defense this year themselves. They got the W in 6 out of their last 7. They held their opponents to just 64 points a game during that stretch. Now, total-wise, the Beavs saw unders against the likes of Texas San Antonio, UC Davis, and the Pitt Panthers. Meanwhile, Wazoo saw their last 4 straight stay under the total, 6-1 to the under in their last 7. Give me Oregon State plus 12, under 134.5. And with that, folks, we are going to jump into our next and final free pick for the video. It's going to be in that Utah-Arizona State game, 11 o'clock Eastern start time. The Utah Utes are minus 5, totals 147. Now, the Utes are 11-1 on the year. They currently find themselves in the middle of an 8-game winning streak. Now, when it comes to offensive production, this is a sharp-shooting Utah team. These guys are in the top 20 in the country in shooting it from three-land. Brandon Carlson averages over 18 points a game, 40% shooting from downtown. Meanwhile, Gabe Matson's second on the roster in points, 47% shooting from beyond the arc himself. Now, they're facing an Arizona State team who failed to cover in 4 out of their last 6. Failures to cover against the likes of San Diego and SMU. And when it comes to offensive production, slow starters would be an understatement. These guys are averaging just 28 first-half points a game, really burying themselves early in contests. They actually ranked 356th in the country in first-half scoring. And I'll tell you, equally as bad, the Sun Devils really just don't make baskets. They're 327th in made field goals per contest. Now, 3 out of ASU's last 4 ball games fell under. Utah saw unders recently against the likes of Washington State, BYU, and Utah Valley. Give me the Utah Runnin' Utes minus 5, under 147. With that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Give me Penn State plus 13.5 over 145. South Florida minus 5.5 under 144 and a hook. Tulsa plus 9 under 152. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video that I actually like the best, just a friendly reminder that I'm hitting at 80% in my last 28 Chairman Package picks on my premium page. And if you sign up for that full access, all-inclusive package here today, it's not just a one-day pass. You're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. The math works out to be just $3.33 a day. Now, I also have packages even cheaper than that. The link for my site is in my bio. Washington Huskies -4 over 153. Minnesota +6.5 over 151. Colorado Buffaloes +11 over 163. Oregon State +12 under 134.5. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me Utah, the Runnin' Utes, -5 under 147.